How's it going, aliens? My name's iAlien. Today I'm back on another Identity 5 video, but today's video will be a COA 3 prediction. The brackets for the COA 3 Global Finals have recently come out, so I have a special guest with me, Mayhem,
Heyo.
to help predict the brackets and pick who will win. The COA starts on May 1st and goes from May 1st to May 4th, I believe. So let's get right into the video. Okay, before I get into the bracket, I want to plug my Discord server. The link will be in the pinned comment below, as well as in the description below, so go click the link and join the server today. Now let's explain how this bracket works. So, every single region, Japan has gotten 3 teams, Southeast Asia has gotten 2 teams, Mainland China has gotten 8 teams, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan has gotten 1 team. NAEU did get 1 team. Unfortunately, they cannot make it. And Korea has gotten 1 team. So that has made up the 16-team bracket. And this is all randomized bracket, no seeding. And this is what has become of it. For COA 3, I am planning to live stream it and MC over it and just discuss my thoughts. I've been a top 1 hunter many times. In NAEU, I've watched so much. I've watched every single tournament, Chinese tournament. I've watched many different Asia server tournaments to really get good insight, and Mayhem has as well. So this is just speculation and our predictions on what will happen. So we'll start at the top left with PG versus AL. So, first, just let's discuss PG and what's your thoughts on them.
So, from what I'm seeing out of PG is something very different about PG than Team Korea that you saw last year is Wolf's hunting has gotten significantly better. Like, it was, like, in the Korean qualifiers and in the warm-up tournaments, it was looking very consistent, especially his Dream Witch and his Bloody Queen, which are, of course, the 2 most powerful hunters. So I feel, that will definitely be PG's, like, main edge going into this matchup against AL.
Yeah, I agree a lot. Wolf has always been a very good hunter. He was the hunter for Team Korea in COA 2. And he was able to hold his own against ITC, who was at the time arguably the best team in the world. So Wolf has always been a very good hunter. He's an experienced hunter. But I also feel that recently his skills have been notched up. His Bloody Queen is very good. It's one of the better Bloody Queens in this tournament. His Dream Witch, he's really been going hard on her, and you can see the practice. He's gotten good with her. And then his Ripper is still as consistent as it's always been. PG survivors have been inconsistent throughout qualifiers and now the warm-up tournament. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. For PG, that's what I'm a little bit worried about, is their survivor play. And against AL, who has 2 hunters, Yanasa and Vampy. Both of those hunters are fairly good. Vampy maining Dream Witch and Feaster mostly, and Yanasa maining Bonbon and Bloody Queen. Both have been pretty good throughout qualifiers. They didn't play qualifiers, but throughout the Japan IVC, Yanasa was good then, and now Vampy has been good in the warm-up tournament, especially with his Feaster. And AL survivors are very experienced. They made it to COA 2. They took GR. They competed well with GR, and they won their first round matchup. So AL is a very experienced team. What are your thoughts on AL?
So one thing is, you're going on the survivors, you're seeing like a lot of these players actually on AL are kind of like OG, Japan server. Like Vanpy's been around for a very long time. I know he was a top hunter in Asia, especially with was photographer a long time ago. But it was really interesting to see him come out with his Dream Witch and his Feaster. And his Feaster, like you said, performing actually very well against IMT in the warm ups.
Yeah, his feature
You know,
format.
around, a long time, and I see really good chemistry, and they put up a good fight. So it'll be kind of a weird matchup whether who survivors can sort of take the other hunter. And I think a large part of this matchup is really going to depend on how consistent PG survivors can be versus, Yanasa and Van P. I feel like if they can hold very strong against Van P and Yanasa, which, it's hard, but it can be done, and Wolf can play exceptionally well, I think that will be, the play. That's really got to be the move that PG is going to have to make in order to, advance on.
Yeah, and for me, this is a very tough one to pick. This is the best team in Korea, and AL, who I would argue is the best team in Japan. They did win the Japan IVC. So these are two of the best teams in Asia server, period. And I think I was leaning towards AL at the start just because of the balance they have in their survivor play. But I really have to pull with almost an upset just because this is PG's first COA while AL has been here before. But I have to pull with the upset and go with PG because I think Wolf will do a very good job. But the deciding factor is the survivors. And I do have belief that the survivors can eke out ties to maybe a win or two against AL's Hunter.
I can see her coming there. Personally, I'm kind of feeling AL on this one, just because Yanas and Van P. I think they are hunters that again, it's going to depend on PG survivor performance. If PG survivors perform, you know, if they take their A game and they go hard this tournament, I mean this matchup, I think that PG will be AL. But you got to remember the AL just is. They have two very experienced hunters at the helm here, and a very experienced survivor team that I do feel can actually, if any team in Asia is going to be able to cope, is going to be able to hold strong against Wolf, I think it is AL survivors.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just because AL survivors have struggled against China teams, against GR, and against IMT, but those are two of the best hunters in the entire world. And Wolf is definitely up there. But there is a difference, and I do believe the AL survivors are some of the best in Asia server. And if they can get the ties that I was talking about for PG survivors, then I would have AL winning, and I do have more trust in this current moment in AL survivors than I do in PG survivors. So while this is a toss up, I would have to go with AL winning.
All right. So next time we going on to ALO versus MWS.
Okay, so ALO MWS. ALO is a Chinese server team. They were the last team to make it out of China qualifiers. They did beat TVT in the losers bracket to make it out to COA, and MWS is a Japanese team, and they came in second, I believe, in the Japan COA qualifiers. So ALO, first my thoughts on ALO. Their hunting is pretty good. I think it has been inconsistent at times, but ALO's Ripper is very good. I think ALO's Spider is also pretty good, and ALO's Dream Witch, while it has been inconsistent, it has come up and had some pretty good matches. ALO Survivors are not necessarily anything to write home about, but for me, they have done their job against very good hunters. They've come out and gave very good performances when needed, and they've definitely stepped up to the task when they had to. What are your thoughts about ALO? What do you feel strengths,
So
weaknesses?
So ALO for me, they've been a very inconsistent team. If you've watched the Chinese qualifiers, you'll realize that whenever ALOs came up against some of the toughest teams, for example, their matchup versus 5HS and their matchup versus TVT, ALO put up major fights and, in fact, actually beat TVT to be able to advance on to this tournament. And TVT is, that's a team with a ton of talent. And ALO came, their survivors pulled in overtime and actually four-manned, which, basically sealed the deal on them advancing to COA. MWS, I haven't, of course, we haven't gotten to see as much footage as ALO, because actually with ALO, we've had the most footage in any qualifier with ALO than any team, because I think they played 7 rounds total.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of ALO's ups and downs. However, we haven't, MWS, I saw them, they played solid in the Japanese qualifier, and, they did their job in the warm-ups. But on this matchup, if ALO comes in like they played versus 5HS and TVT, I think it'll be just a bit too much for MWS to handle.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing. Just because MWS strength, in my opinion, is their first round. Because their Dream Witch is pretty good. And I think their Dream Witch is on par with ALO's Dream Witch. And it has even been better at times. So the question I'm asking myself when I look at this matchup is, can ALO survivors beat MWS's Dream Witch? And I do feel like they can, because ALO has beaten very good Dream Witches in China, some of the best ones in the world, and they have come up and beaten them. And I feel like if they can beat MWS Dream Witch first round, it should start to really be easy sailing for them.
Especially because while ALO is a bit off meta in terms of their hunter selections, that late round, that Spider Ripper, it's not the Spider's a bit meta. The Ripper isn't. Ripper's not a meta pick for a season 10 tournament, but it's very tough, and I feel like ALO, and they've shown their survivors can play very well in the later round. I feel like if MWS is to take an early game lead, I think the problem I see is that ALO could just be so dominant in the later rounds that that'll give them the sharp edge over MWS. But again, like you said, ALO could really be able to handle MWS in the first round.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because not only was I really banking on second and third round for ALO, but it's because ALO's second and third round is really their best rounds, because even though Dream Witch is more meta and a stronger character than Ripper and Spider, the mastery of their Ripper and Spider is much more than their Dream Witch. So if they're able to go back and back with the first round Dream Witch, I think second and third round they have a gigantic advantage over MWS. So I would be going for ALO in this matchup.
Yeah, that's exactly my selection too.
So ALO moving on. Let's keep going through the first round. Let's move bottom to GK versus AT. GK is the winner. Yes, the winner of the SEA bracket. They did beat VX in the finals of the Southeast Asia COA qualifiers. And AT, while they did not dominate by any means in the China qualifiers and they did have to go through the losers bracket, they have been pretty impressive against good teams such as TVT, such as MFB, and even Ace. So both of these teams have been pretty impressive through COA qualifiers. GK, what are your initial thoughts on GK?
So the primary strength I see out of GK is their experience. In fact, I think most of those players, like their hunter, for example, Godjay, have played a long time and even played last COA. And Godjay, I think, he made it to the semifinals, right?
Yes.
Of COA 2. So, but I think there's a glaring weakness, and that's actually just, let's look at the survivors. their Survivor team comp, it's not meta, and I think that they're taking a major gamble because I see them play a lot of characters like Postman, for example, which aren't meta picks. I think I've seen them use Prospector, Enchantress, and qualifiers. I think I saw a lot of weird characters come out of Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
getting usage that you don't see usage in China because they're just simply not as strong. I think, and then of course GK's performance in the warm up tournament was not, as it didn't, it wasn't as good as their qualifier. So, and with AT, AT survivors aren't the best in China, but they're solid. They're a solid survivor team with actually. And AT's strength comes in at their hunter.
Mm.
Their hunter is a very good Dream Witch, a very good Bloody Queen, and a very, very good Wu Chang. In fact, one of the only Wu Changs we were seeing in this Chinese qualifier. I just feel personally like the hunting game coming out of AT is just going to be really it could be really dominating over the GK survivors if they don't come in at, they got to come in strong because this is a hunter that's been manhandling some of the best teams in China. And I think that God J is a talented hunter, and I think he does. I think he could potentially hold his own. Again, if he brings his, if he plays his best, I think he could hold his own versus AT. Because, like I said, they're solid, but they're not unbeatable. So for GK to beat AT, they'd have to have amazing survivor play, and God J is gonna have to be very consistent at hunting. Unfortunately, I feel like unfortunately for GK, of course, I just feel like AT is their strength is just it'll just be too overwhelming. That's my call.
Yeah, when I look at this matchup for GK, they are a good team. Every team that's made it to COA is certainly impressive and certainly a very good team. However, my concerns for GK also lie in Survivor. The Survivor play I've seen from GK, while I have seen good moments here and there, I've just seen a lot of less impressive moments from GK. And it may not even be the skill level of their survivors because I feel like their survivors are skilled and they are very experienced. But a lot of it just lies from team comp using characters. Postman, they use Prospector. Prospector is of course a good character, but just not someone you see often in tournament play. Those type of characters are a lot harder to win with. And GK's hunter, God J, while he is a very experienced hunter, he's a really good hunter. In the warm up tournament, he did not have impressive performances. Now, I do want to mention that there were lag and ping issues during the warm up
Mm-hmm.
tournaments. So
Yeah, I
I'm not
forgot to
going
mention
to
that.
take that and just say, "Oh, this guy's bad, this guy's good." No, because there were ping issues, but I just feel like his performances were not very impressive there. And when I look at AT, their survivor core is definitely really solid. Okay, it may not be the best you've ever seen, but they can handle their own against most hunters. Their perfumer is the number one perfumer in China, and she is just really good at kiting. And their hunter play is their strength. Okay, AT's hunter does a lot of things that you won't see from other hunters. His Dream Witch is definitely very good, very solid, but his Bloody Queen is one of his strengths because he switches to Peeper. He starts with Blink and he switches to Peeper instead of what most people do when they switch to Teleport. Peeper gives him a lot more map control and a lot more cipher pressure. You give his Bloody Queen a map like Orange Factory or Red Church, where he can really dominate that map in game with Peeper. It's one of the deadliest Bloody Queens in the world, and I feel like that second round Bloody Queen is just a little too much to handle for GK survivors. And then if it does come to a third round, AT's Wu Chang is very, very good. And if they get to pick Moonlit Wu Chang, I just don't see a way that not just GK, but I mean most teams in this tournament could really handle a third round Moonlit Wu Chang pick. So I also have to go with AT. They were one of the underdogs in China qualifiers, one of the teams many people didn't know about, but they came out and were very impressive and fought their way throughout. And GK is definitely going to put up a fight as they are right now the best team in all of Southeast Asia, but I have to go with AT.
Yeah. So
Let's
now on to a very, very unfortunate first round matchup.
So this is the most stacked matchup, I would say the most competitive matchup of the first round. This could have arguably been the finals of COA 3. This is how good these two teams are, MRC and 5HS. Both of these teams are very, very experienced. 5HS has been playing since COA 1. MRC has been playing for a very long time as well. Both have undergone changes, especially in Hunter. But Survivor play was always the strength for both of these teams. MRC and 5HS arguably have the best Survivor cores in China. But now they have both bolstered up their hunting a lot. 5HS with getting Yang, who is always a top 5 hunter on the leaderboards and is, in my opinion, no bias, the best hunter in the world right now. He's just a very, very strong hunter. And MRC getting a very strong hunter too. Very good Dream Witch. And both of these teams are just stacked. So this is going to definitely be the toughest one to pick for me. But where are you swinging on this? What are your opinions about it?
Ooh, so this is one that could go a lot of different ways. Um, Again, like Alien said, both these teams insanely strong survivors. And another thing about these teams that these are historically insanely talented. You know, you looking at the history of their tournaments, they've came out as inconsistent. You know,
Yeah.
that was a big issue. Right now, there's not that inconsistency that you're seeing. Both these teams have had major tournament wins, I think, or major tournament performances at least, throughout their histories. So I think it's gonna come down to some factors. First off, the hunters here are gonna have to play at their best. It's gonna be a battle of which hunter gets that breakthrough. If these survivors play at their best, it's going to be a nightmare for each of these teams opposing hunters. But getting on into it, 5HS is a team that can handle Dream Witch. I think that may be the big factor here. I think that's one of two factors. 5HS is, they can handle Dream Witch. So I feel like 5HS is a team that can take MRC's Hunter. And coming out with Yang here, again, like Alien said, one of the best, if not the best hunters in the world. He's going to have a lot to steal on this MRC Survivor team. If you're looking at the first, I think a big thing is that Yang, it depends on when he goes third round. If he goes, because, he used to be the best photographer in the world, and he likely still is right now. I feel like MRC can beat his Spider. Like, if he goes Spider, that could be a shutdown sweep for MRC survivors. But if he goes photo, if his photo can break through, and his photo does something to MRC survivors, I think that could be the tipping point for them. This is a very tough. Again, I don't mean to seem so stunned. This is just such a tough matchup to call because it could go either way. But I'm feeling like 5HS just might have a little bit more muscle right now than what MRC, could swing. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this is such a tough one for me to call. These are right now. GR and IMT are probably what you'd call the two best teams in the world right now because they met in the finals of the last biggest tournament in China. But I think these two teams are the most skilled teams in the world right now in MRC and 5HS. Both have made gigantic improvements to their hunter core. Both are still such amazing survivor cores. But when I look at this matchup, historically, 5HS has had the edge over MRC. They beat them in COA 2, and I feel like that will have an impact here. I think when I look at the two hunters, both are very good, but I think while MRC's hunter can beat 99% of teams in COA, I think 5HS's hunter can beat 100% of teams in COA. And the 1% that I'm looking at really is 5HS. If MRC will need a four-man with their Dream Witch first round. Okay, I've seen very good Dream Witch play come out of him, but I've also seen some inconsistency come out of his Dream Witch. I think a four-man is needed to put the pressure on 5HS because 5HS's Dream Witch, while also one of the best in the world in tournament, has been inconsistent as well. So if one of these two teams can come out and make a statement first round, most likely will be Orange Factory Dream Witch for both. I think whoever does that will ultimately win. Because when you're looking at second round, both will come out with Bloody Queen, and while one may be able to shift the tide, more than likely what we've seen is it's just going to be ties from both. It's just going to keep it going. In third round, while some teams have that edge third round, I think that with these two survivor cores, when you are facing a third round hunter, whether that be Spider most likely or Photo, it's just very tough to say that survivors this good is going to lose to a Spider or a Photo. Honestly, it's tough to see it. And while I think 5HS's Photo is the wild card here, I'm not going to bank on it to, win them this matchup. I just think 5HS's survivors are slightly more experienced, slightly better, and that's why I do have to also go with 5HS here. Um, and Yang, I just think he is maybe the best hunter in this tournament. He's at least top 3. And I think he has the little bit of the hunter advantage in this one. So I'll be going for 5HS over MRC.
Yeah, agreed, man. It's a tough call, very tough call though. It could go either way.
Yeah, it really could.
I think whatever team advances forward will most likely,
make the finals, in my opinion.
I think they'll make the finals. The same.
Let's move to top right. Okay, so top right, we start off with BZY, a Chinese server team, versus VX, a Southeast Asia server team. BZY came out and was very, very impressive during COA qualifiers. I do not believe they lost a single round. They swept through their bracket and they advanced to COA. BZY was arguably the biggest surprise of China COA qualifiers, with them using a photographer first round and having very good success with it, leaning towards a feaster second round, also having very good success with it. VX came out and was very good during Southeast Asia COA. They were a popular pick going in, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they ended up making it out, got second place in Southeast Asia, and they made it to COA. So now that we've really surfaced these two teams, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
So first off, just to note, BCY seemed to have kind of gone as an overhaul going into this tournament. I did not expect to see what I saw out of them, and it was definitely for the positive. So if you're looking at them, you're looking at a photographer first round that is very consistent. He has not lost a single game yet, and he did not lose a single game in the qualifiers with photographer. In fact, I think he four-man most of his matches, and he got like one tie.
Yeah.
And and then of course a Feaster that was able to also manage versus very top teams. Of course, the Feaster had its weak moments, but you mainly saw strength out of it. And then I believe third round, if Feaster isn't banned, I've seen them ban his Dream Witch, I think, or his Bloody Flame, but I haven't actually seen that. But I have seen a Clown come out. I don't exactly remember how it performed, but I think it did its job. So you're looking at a very, very off-meta pick here. However, it's very strong with it. He's very strong with his off-meta characters. So that's kind of, a big... That Hunter strength, I think, is what's going to be BZY's power here. But if you're looking at the survivors, BZY survivors are also very consistent, and they can be strong. I'm not going to say they're the best survivor team in this tournament, but they are a strong team. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have VX. And with VX, you're looking at Hunter. 72S is another, he was here at COA 2. And you're seeing a lot of the same survivors that were in COA 2 playing for VX. It's going to be a tough play because, again, during, the qualifiers, they played well. They did lose the finals, but they did their job. And they play a bit more meta, actually. Not total meta, but they play a lot more to the meta than GK does. And then as a Hunter, 72S, again, very experienced Hunter. But his appearance with the during the warm-up tournament, it was a little bit spotty. So that it's going to really come down to, of course, I think that BZY's Hunter is a Hunter that can go, that'll give VX's survivors a lot of trouble. And then and while 72S is a good Hunter, BZY survivors are good enough to where I think they can match his performance. While BZY's Hunter play could be a bit, is likely it's going to be a serious tidal wave for VX to deal with. So for that reason, I'm really feeling BZY kind of coming out on top of VX in this matchup.
Yeah. So my look into this is BZY's Hunter has been very off meta. Going photo first round is something we have really never seen in the history of this game's esports life cycle. Even when photo was a lot more meta, when he was a lot newer to this game, you really never saw first round photos. But BZY's photo has it has shown that it can hold its own. I mean, it's gotten mostly four mans. It hasn't lost at all. So I'm not going to list this as any type of weakness. In fact, I'm going to list it as a strength for BZY. Using such a strong hunter that many teams aren't actively practicing for. Many teams aren't practicing to face a photo. And this has definitely been a strength for BZY. BZY survivors have also been really solid because in order to take that leap of faith of going photo and feaster and clown, you have to know that your survivors are going to be good enough to keep you in, whether those don't always work out. And BZY survivors have been good enough. VX, I feel like GK is the most consistent team in Southeast Asia, but I feel that VX is the most skilled team in Southeast Asia. I think they have actually really good talent level, and 72S is such a scary hunter. In warm up tournaments, he has not performed great, but like I said, there have been lag, performance, ping issues in there. But overall, 72S's Dream Witch is very scary for any Survivor team. His Bloody Queen is scary for any Survivor team. And 72S his is one of the best hunters in all of Asia's server. So I feel like this matchup will be very close between the two, but I feel the deciding factor is BZY's Hunter play. While 72S can hold his own against BZY survivors, I feel like BZY Hunter can really overpower VX's survivors. And I think if his photo and Feaster is having that much success against China level teams, very good China level teams, I think they can have at least the same success, if not more, against VX in this matchup. And that's why I also have to lean towards BZY to be moving on. Okay, next
Yeah.
is
GR.
GR. And they
Yeah,
get a
GR.
waiver.
Yeah, because LBM was supposed to represent NAEU, but due to issues, LBM was not able to attend. So GR moves on to the quarterfinals.
And if there
Automatically,
was any team, if there's any team to deserve this, it would be GR. They are the reigning champions of COA. They won COA 2. Um, I believe also won COA 1. So, yeah, GR definitely deserves the waiver if anyone deserved it here. So let's move down now to Ace versus IMT. This is another one of those MRC 5HS type matchups. It's a truly just two powerhouse of teams, two experienced teams, two of the best teams in China going at it in the first round. So, what are you thinking about this matchup?
So I think there is one thing that's associated with IMT, and this one thing will be the deciding factor, and that's Mad Eyes. IMT's Hunter goes Mad Eyes first round, and it is dominating. It's from what I've seen, one of, if not the best Mad Eyes in the entire world. And this, of course, it's stronger on certain maps. So I feel like whoever wins the coin toss is going to have if IMT can win that coin toss, they may have a lot of power over Ace in this matchup. But again, what you're going to see is Ace having very, very good, strong survivor play, and then another very strong hunter department as well. And one thing is, while IMT survivors are very good, they are beatable. I think especially for hunters on Ace, they could take that. They could make something happen. And it'll be a matter. I think if Ace wants to win this matchup, they're going to have to beat the Mad Eyes first round, which is a lot easier said than done. However, again, IMT is, it doesn't just end at Mad Eyes. He's a very strong hunter. With Bloody Queen and I think Dream Witch, right?
Yeah, no, he goes Bloody Queen, Mad Eyes, then Bloody Queen, and then Spider or Ripper third round.
Yeah, that's true. Why am I so dumb? So what you're going to say, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I think that if Ace can beat the Mad Eyes, they can beat IMT. But that's a tough call because, this Mad Eyes is something that can probably beat any team in the world on a given day. Especially if he gets a map like, for example, Red Church. I think that if Ace can win the coin toss, they need to go Lakeside first round. Or a map like that, to where Mad Eyes is much weaker, and then exploit that. And it's going to be very close, but I'm actually gonna go with the underdog pick here, and I think that Ace could make something happen. But I'm gonna go with Ace. But again, I think that IMT might actually be the better team. I'm just kind of feeling an upset. What about you?
Yeah, this is a tough one.
So tough. It's really hard to because you're looking at the best teams in China that have faced each other and had varying results against each other. So it's again it's a very tough call for some matches like this. But what
Yeah.
is
So for Ace, okay, Ace's survivors are very good. They've always been very good. They still are. Ace's hunter department is one of the more unique hunter departments because both of their hunters are very strong, but they've recently added a new hunter, Say. He was the hunter for XGI. They have since disbanded, but he was the main hunter for XGI. He's always been one of the better hunters in the world. Both of them main Bloody Queen and Dream Witch, and both of them are very strong Bloody Queens in Dream Witch. Where their differences lie is in third round. While Say has been known to be a ripper third round, recently with the Wu Chang buff, I think you'll see him using him a lot more in third round. They'll be going for that Wu Chang Moonlit third round with Say, while he can play Ripper, and while their other hunter can also play Ripper, I think this is the best call for Ace. IMT is just a very good team. They're all top ranked players, and their survivors are some of the most skilled and some of the most talented in this tournament. Their coordination has not been to the level of MRC or 5HS, but they are definitely very good survivors. But IMT's Hunter is right now, I'd say, the strongest Hunter in the game just because of his success he's had with Mad Eyes and Bloody Queen. The dominating performance they gave to GR sent shockwaves and really made a name for IMT. I hate to see this matchup in the first round, I really do, but I think it all has to do with who wins the coin toss. If Ace gets first round map pick, I think it's over. Because Aces, one of their favorite maps to go with Dream Witch and Bloody Queen is Lakeside. It's been a popular map choice for Ace. While Mad Eyes' worst map is Lakeside. So I could see IMT being forced to go Bloody Queen first round and then Ace banning Mad Eyes when IMT gets to pick the map like Leo's or Church, banning the Mad Eyes. So I could see this happening to where IMT doesn't even get to play Mad Eyes. And then if Ace gets to pick third round as well and get a Wu Chang on Moonlit, while IMT's Ripper Moonlit is strong, Wu Chang is just a lot stronger in this meta right now. And IMT is who I feel to be a little bit better of the team, but because of circumstance and because of matchup, just the way these two teams match up in their map selection, I have to go with Ace here. And we had MRC and 5HS and we picked, the team that's supposed to win in 5HS. Heck, BZY versus VX, we picked the team that's supposed to win. So I just want to go with one upset, and I am feeling this upset right here, and I think Ace can pull it out. So I am also going for Ace over IMT.
But again, like I said, I feel like if Impact, no Immortal or whatever, IMT, we've been messing that one up all night. If IMT gets the Arms Factory pick, that's almost a guaranteed 4-man, and that may just be too much for Ace to recover from.
Yeah, if they get their Mad Eyes pick, 4-man Mad Eyes pick, that is what gives IMT the win here.
Yeah, we got to move on here now to a very, very interesting matchup. AOC versus RD.
Okay, so AOC versus RD. AOC was the winner of the Japan COA qualifiers. RD is the representative of Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Unfortunately, there are no COA qualifiers, so our information on RD is a lot more limited than the other teams. However, they did play in the warm-up tournaments against GR and a couple of Asia server teams, so we've been able to gather some intel on them from that. Right here, ALC RD. both very strong Asia server teams. I know we both have good opinions about both of these two teams. Tough matchup. What are you going with for this one?
So I think I think their hunter name is Rose. RD Rose has just shown out to be very, very dominant they came up in the warm-up tournament and four-manned as Wu Chang. They four-man GR survivors on Arms Factory. And that was something I did not expect to see. And then I think they followed up with a Bloody Queen game that was very good as well. So, I'm seeing this hunter is very strong coming out for RD. And I've seen good survivor play as well, overall. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, you say ALC Silly is a very good Dream Witch. And, you're seeing solid survivors, solid hunting. Again, I haven't, ALC kind of being a newer team and RD having, there was no qualifiers. So we've only seen a little bit of a limited performance. But I think from what I've seen out of this limited performance, I see a lot of promise for RD in this tournament. And I feel like RD might actually be able to edge out ALC here. But again, it go either ways, and I haven't, a little bit limited on RD. But I think, such a strong Bloody Queen and such a strong Wu Chang, especially if they get a good Wu Chang map first round, because, let's say they get, like, a large map, like Moonlit. If they win that coin toss, a Moonlit Wu Chang is very tough to beat. And a Moonlit Dream Witch, not as much as, like an Arms Factory Dream Witch. And I think that for that reason, I just feel like RD will move on. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing here. AOC is a very, very solid team. They dominated Japan COA qualifiers, but RD has been so impressive throughout warm-up tournaments. I think they made a statement. Their hunter definitely made a statement when he four-manned GR Arms Factory Wu Chang. But that's what I'm looking at here because even if AOC gets their Arms Factory Dream Witch, RD Rose has shown that he can go Wu Chang Arms Factory and have just as much success as any Dream Witch on that map. And then it only compounds if RD gets to pick the map. Because if they get to pick, a bigger map, that will hurt the Dream Witch while making the Wu Chang performance even better. So, worst case scenario and best case scenario, I can definitely see RD just holding their own. Bloody Queen is very strong. That will be very important in this matchup. It'll be that second round. So, for that, I am also going with RD to win. I think they're one of the sleeper teams in COA 3. So I'll be going for RD over AOC here. So that has concluded first round. Let's just make our way back up to the top left. And in that matchup, it's it's AL versus ALO. Top Japan team, top China team. Who are you going with for this one?
So again, we've discussed the strengths and weaknesses, and the kind of features of all these teams. So I won't spend quite as much time. Again, I feel like ALO on a really good day can just hold out. If they're playing their best, I think that ALO can really just hold out strong over AL because as they've shown in, AL's strength as their survivors, but I feel like ALO's hunter can handle them. Now, of course, even if AL's survivors hold out, super strong as well, I think the ALO survivors can hold out and have good success, over AL's hunter department. It'll be a very tough match, especially, AL's talented and, they're around that same ballpark of skill level. And they are very consistent, but I can just see ALO kind of, having being a little bit heavier, harder hitting team. But if ALO comes out, playing like they did some matches, I could see AL just jumping them and exploiting that. So it's tough. especially with that Feaster pick. That comes in more third round, right? Where does that?
If it's
What?
Vampy, it'll be a second round pick.
Yeah, I'm not. I hate to say it, but I'm not totally, 100% guaranteed on how AL does their hunter rotations because I don't think we've actually seen them rotate in hunters,
No,
right?
we've never
Because
seen them rotate. They've just like one matchup they went Vampy's hunter, and the other matchup they went Yanasa's hunter, who's been historically their hunter.
so it's really tough for me to say how they're exactly going to run things, and that's always a major factor in who you put where. But this is tough. I think the ALO could edge him, but AL could pull an upset. It's very possible. But I think just for consistency's sake, I want to put ALO moving forward. What about you?
Yeah, we've had some Asia server, China server matchups throughout this. Through COA 2, no Asia server team defeated a China server team. The closest was Team Korea versus ITC that went to a tiebreaker. And they showed that Asia server, the best of Asia server, can stack up to the best of China server. We have not seen any wins from Asia server against China, but if there was one, if there would be a win for an Asia server team to beat a China server team, it would be this one. AL is arguably the best Asia server team, and ALO is just the China server team with the most questions around them because they did have to play 7 matches to get here. They did have to win the losers bracket of the losers bracket to win here. And even then, they took TVT to a tiebreaker. So while ALO is very strong, there's many question marks around ALO's consistency. And while AL has been known for their consistency throughout Japan and has had always very good success around Japan. If there was a matchup where an Asia server team would defeat China, it would be here. It would be AO defeating ALO. And this is really 55-45 for me. But saying all that, I do have to lean towards ALO. Just because the best ALO I've seen does edge out the best AL I've seen. Now, I've seen ALO play at a lower level, and when they play like that, I feel that AL's regular level is better. But in a tournament like this, I just have to take the best of both. And when I'm taking the best of ALO against the best of AL, I gotta favor ALO just a little bit more. So I do agree, and I have ALO moving on to the semifinals. Okay, so let's move to the bottom left. AT versus 5HS. AT, one of the more surprising teams during COA qualifiers, holding their own against teams on the level of 5HS. And 5HS is just a known superpower in the China scene. So, AT5HS, are you going for the upset? Are you going for, what most people would pick? What are you thinking about for this one?
So all factors weighed in. I gotta just go with 5HS. I think it comes down to AT's Hunter is very powerful, but 5HS is just gonna be a bit too much for him. Like I think they can. I'm pretty sure they can beat it. I'm very confident they can beat his Dream Witch. I'm confident they can beat his Bloody Queen, or at least tie his Bloody Queen, I should say. And I feel that his Wu Chang can be powerful, but I think that 5HS is a team that we win or tie every match versus AT's Hunter. And on the other side, I feel like Yang is I feel like Yang can just bite down and take off with AT survivors, and it could they could really lose their footing. I just don't see they would consistently make big dents in 5HS, where I can just see 5HS kind of overpowering them, just by AT being a strong team overall. Is that what you're feeling? Or
Yeah, here it's a tough one for me. I was really very impressed by what AT did. I really like AT coming
Same.
out, being the underdog, and just surprising everyone. However, what I feel is that what I would say would be the strength for AT, which is third round Wu Chang, compared to a third round that's in flux right now for 5HS. Spider is the more likely pick, but Photo has been the trendy pick recently for Yang. So you don't really know what's going to come out. However, 5HS, while most teams, I'd say, okay, AT's Wu Chang is going to be too good for him, especially on Moonlit. 5HS in a recent scrimmage faced Aces Wu Chang on Moonlit. And I believe they either tied or beat it, and 5HS has beaten other Wu Changs recently. They can handle any hunter in this game, and I feel that even if AT got best circumstance, I mean, best circumstance, you know, Dream Witch on arms, I feel like 5HS could handle that. I mean, Bloody Queen on Church. I feel like 5HS could handle that. And even a Wu Chang Moonlit third round, I feel like at worst 5HS would tie to it. And on any other map, I feel like 5HS would beat it. So because of that, 5HS is just so strong. I really respect AT for what they've done. I wish them all the best in this tournament. I do think they have a chance, but I have to go with 5HS here.
My thoughts exactly. You know, a lot of respect to AT, but 5HS is just something powerful.
Yeah. So let's go to the top right now. And this is a very fun matchup. A very, very fun matchup. BZY versus GR. BZY, the newcomer and the surprise of COA, while GR has been the staple, winning COA 1 and COA 2. But recently, GR has seen some decline. They've scrimmaged Ace and they lost. They scrimmaged 5HS twice and they lost. And in tournament, their last two tournaments, they have been ousted both times by IMT. So while GR is very strong, they have shown some kinks in their armor. And BZY, in their recent performance, has shown no kinks in their armor. They've just dominated every team they faced. So, who are you going with for BZY versus GR?
Because this is a tough pick right here. Um, I think the biggest factor in this game, what will come out the most, is whose survivors want it the most. GR survivors, you know, historically have been insane, but you know, like you said, recently they've slowed down. There's, you know, it's not the same spark, especially with some like hardcore lineup changes. And well, Easy Wise Hunting just shows, you know, at its peak. I can really see BZY's Hunting just taking down GR. It's really not out of the ballpark. But I also feel, you know, like a clown third round could be something that GR can handle. And if, you know, third round is where they're usually weakest. But I think that these, you know, that's a, I mean, if GR survivors play at their A game, I think they can do well enough to where PPX can overcome. But I also just really see BZY hitting hard on GR survivors this turn on this, you know, in that matchup. I also can see PPX doing very well, but I can also, you know, see BZY survivors getting a run on like his Bloody Queen and his third round. I can really see it happening. It's a tough call. What do you take of this situation?
So, here, this is an interesting matchup. It's really a clash of two opposites right now. GR, the consistent, BZY, the new, flashy up and comer. The survivor play for GR has been lacking recently. They do need to show me more. And something to note here is that BZY is going to be able to have gotten, you know, used to the COA stages, which I think is important. They're going to be able to face VX first round. That's going to get them used to COA stage, while GR is already used to it. So I think GR will be fine with the waiver. I mean, when you've won two COAs, you have definitely able to handle that pressure. BZY, a new team. I'd like that they are able to get a matchup to, get their feet under them. However, I just feel that PPX is the deciding factor here. I think that PPX can show the world again why he is arguably the best hunter in the world. And I think this is the perfect matchup for him. I think BZY survivors are very strong, but I think PPX is a notch above them, to be honest. And I can't see BZY beating his Dream Witch. I just can't see it. I can see GR losing to his photo, but if I had to really predict, I would predict them tying it. I
I think,
PPX, yeah, I just feel that PPX is the deciding factor. I think that, so that's why I am going with GR here. But who are you going with?
you know, I want to go with BZY, but but I just feel like GR is going to bring more consistency to the plate than TVT did. I think their survivors, if their survivors play at their best, which, I saw a noticeable improvement from their first warm-up tournament match to their second warm-up tournament match. I can really see GR survivors doing what's needed for PPX to hold up, while I can see PPX, really clamping down on BZY.
Mm.
So I'll agree with the GR pick. I think it's very, very, very close. And I think BZY, if a team's going to beat GR, it'll be BZY. But I just, I can see GR really coming out hard to the semis if they play at their best.
So we have GR moving on to the semifinals. Okay, the last match of the quarters is Ace versus RD. RD is the team, in my opinion, right now, the sleeper pick from Asia server, while Ace is just very good right now. Like, they've gone through ups and downs since their tournament debut, but this is definitely an up for them right now. They're playing very well, and they are definitely coming into form when it's needed most. Ace versus RD, uh, China versus Hong Kong, Mackay, Taiwan region. Who are you going for?
Well, one thing I want to get straight here is first I think I just can see Ace putting on more pressure than RD is used to, because I feel like they're going to come out a lot harder hitting than ALC will. And I don't know if RD is ready for that. They did tie GR in a way in the warm-up tournament in the 2 rounds. But that was a very sluggish GR performance. And I don't think Ace is going to play sluggish, especially if Ace has beaten IMT. They're not going to come out sluggish. I also feel, I think that RD is very talented. I don't know as much about him, but I can see Ace beating him. I also want to say that, let's say IMT wins that, I can also see IMT beating RD. But for the sake of it, I think Ace has just kind of got this. It'll be tough, though. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing. RD will put up a fight for sure. But I think Ace's toughest matchup they already played against IMT. If they get through that, RD will be a challenge and will be a roadblock. But Ace, right now, they're just a little bit too strong. And for that reason, I'll also be going Ace in that matchup. I think Ace's survivors can handle RD Rose's Wu Chang. And if they can nullify that, it'll be a lot easier for Ace to win this. Okay, so now that we have our semifinal set, let's discuss the first one, and that is ALO versus 5HS. this is actually a matchup that we've seen before. They faced in the China COA qualifiers twice, and 5HS did defeat them both times. ALO pub a fight in both, but it was never really out of reach, I'll say, for 5HS. I mean, they always had the advantage. They were never down against ALO, but ALO did put up a good fight, and this is different. They faced two times. Maybe something will change. What are you thinking about ALO versus 5HS?
You know, I love the underdog. I would love to see ALO come out, do great, especially after such a insane road to actually reaching COA. But I just think 5HS is too much. I mean, you saw in the last two performances, they played their hearts out, and that was them playing near perfect. At least, especially for their standards, they were playing insanely good. For what they were doing. But even 5HS, like you said, it was never. They were never, down. I just think 5HS is just too much for them. What are your thoughts? I think the
Yeah,
5HS.
I just think that ALO. We've seen the matchup twice. ALO has put up a good fight, but I think the match that showed me 5HS will be the winner is the last match they played. He went Spider. ALO Spider is very good. He went Spider on Red Church. Spider's best map. He got a quick down and mechanic. Everything seemed to be going well for ALO Spider, but then he didn't get the double hit on the chair. You think, okay. And then, but 20 seconds of tie turner. Forms the back on chair. Another 20 seconds of tie turner. You think, okay, well, it'll be a tie, at least for ALO Spider. And then you see borrow time pop. And ALO loses that match. I think that's ALO Spider playing at nearly his best and doing nothing wrong, but 5HS Survivors beating his Spire on his best map. And without even having some insane kite. Mechanic getting found first, and them still winning. A similar thing happened in Leo's memory to the Spider earlier. Had another good match, but 5HS somehow got the Acrobat got dungeon, and they three-man his Spider there. So when I'm looking
Yeah,
at
actually, I think they tied that one. Actually, I think they tied that.
it's a tie, yeah, it was one.
Yeah,
They had
I think
what
it was a
two
tie.
people?
Yeah, they had two people up when the gates popped, and then he got kited to dungeon.
Yeah, the Acrobat kited him to dungeon. He made a very smart play with the fireball. He was a web hit from going down. And the Acrobat made a very smart play, got the fireball on him. He couldn't web, and he got to dungeon. So 5HS has just shown they can really handle ALO. And ALO survivors have had nearly no answer for Yang. And I don't see that changing here, to be honest. So I do have to go with 5HS in this matchup. Moving on to COA finals and ALO moving on to the third place round. Okay, let's get into our other semis. I think a little bit more interesting. GR versus Ace.
Ooh, so it's gonna be a tough one. I think. I think that if any hunter, I think that if any survivor team right now on this side is ready for PPX, it's gonna be Ace. Especially if at this point we've predicted him to actually make their way through IMT. I think that Ace, could be just very strong, very challenging for PPX to put up. And their hunter department has shown that it could provide, a lot of trouble for GR's survivor team, especially in their current state. GR is going to have to perform extremely strong to fight their way through this one. Ultimately, I can just kind of see Ace. Technically, GR is very, very talented to see Ace playing their cards right, because I think Ace's strength are where GR's weaknesses are. and then GR's strength are manageable for Ace. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I just want to have a little fun here. I think the easy pick is to go for GR. I think that's what most people will pick. But I've seen weaknesses from GR. I have. And so far, we've kind of, you know, shrugged them off. They got a waiver through first round. BCY, very strong team, but we shrugged them off against that one. And we said, yeah, we know we've seen the weaknesses, but we're still going with GR. And I just think Ace is so good. They're on a high right now. GR is on a bit of a low. And why not pick Ace? I mean, GR's third round is very questionable right now, while Ace's third round seems to be very good. The first two rounds, while Ace, I do not believe Ace's Dream Witch or Ace's Bloody Queen, whoever goes it for them, is as strong as PPX. I do feel they can hold their own against PPX. I could see we heading to third round in a bit of a tie. I could see Ace dominating that third round and moving on. So while this could go either way here, I mean, why not have some fun? Ace can
Yeah.
definitely beat GR, and I'm not going to ignore their weaknesses in this one. I have to go with Ace as well. Off to
Same
the
here, man.
finals.
So let's go with the third place. Actually,
Yeah,
let's.
let's start off with third place. It is ALO versus GR in third place.
I think again, I can just see. I think that if ALO is gonna beat a major Chinese team, it will be GR. But I think that PPX could just be too much for their survivors. I think, the Dream Witch, especially on the right maps, will be overbearing. And I think that GR's survivors will be able to answer for ALO's Hunter. So I think it could be very close, but I just kind of see GR keeping them at bay for this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing here. ALO may make it a match. They may make it close here, but GR, they're strong. They're very strong. PPX is very strong. I think ALO survivors, while they are decent, they're all really decent. PPX is a hunter that if he sees a team like that, he will take advantage of it. And I see this being no different here. He'll definitely take advantage of the matchup. And I have GR winning this third place round and being the third place winner of COA 3. You want to move on to the grand finals here.
Heck
5HS
yeah.
versus Ace.
This is a tough matchup. But, I've picked Ace. I've rooted for Ace as an upset pick twice now, actually, on the road to the finals. I just see 5HS being a stonewall. I think that as good as Ace's Hunter department is, that's something that 5HS is, going to beat and tie. And I see, as good as Ace's survivors are, I can see Yang breaking through and beating them. It's very much within the realm of possibility. It'll be close, very close, I think. But personally, I can just see, I just see 5HS coming out as the champion of COA 3. What about you?
Yeah. Something to note, I'll just say this. 5HS recently faced Ace in a scrimmage. Ace did beat 5HS, but keep this in mind. 5HS went photo the first two rounds against Ace. They basically played on a handicap against Ace because they were testing out just how strong Ying's photo can be, how viable it is for COA 3. So they just went photo. They didn't go Dream Witch and Bloody Queen like regularly. So they went photo the first 2 rounds, and then the last round they switched to their Bloody Quinn or Moonlit and got the 4-man. With photo first 2 rounds, while Yang was very good, he was only able to get one person out both times. I think it's safe to say if 5HS went a regular lineup here, they would have definitely beat Ace. While playing under basically a handicap, they still almost beat Ace. Playing at full strength here, I just think they're the better team. I think Survivor play their better, Hunter play their better, and while Ace is very good and we've really talked high of them, I just don't see really any advantages. I think the only advantage they get is in third round, but his photo and Moonlit is very strong. But in scrimmage, he went Bloody Queen or Moonlit and was able to 4-man and match up to Ace's Wu Chang on Moonlit. So when I'm looking at this, I just don't see anything Ace does better than 5HS. So I have to go with 5HS winning the COA 3 Global Finals tournament.
Same here, man. All these teams here, they're all very varied, but all these teams are impressive and talented, and they worked very hard to get to where they are. So, no matter how it goes, whether it goes exactly like we predict or whether it goes nothing like we predict, congrats to all these teams for, making it to where not many in this world can say they have been.
Yeah, but this is all speculation. I mean, could 5HS Ace may not even be here. It could be something completely different. I mean, for all we know, it could be GK versus VX. So
yeah,
2 teams we downed in the first round. So this isn't any factor. It's just pure speculation on who we think from our experience with the game, watching all of these teams, and both of us predict that 5HS will be the winners. You have to stay tuned to see. I will be streaming COA 3 on my YouTube channel. I'm seeing over it, just saying my thoughts. I want to give a big thank you to Mayhem for joining me on this video. His link will be in the comment below as well as in the description below. So go, watch his video, subscribe to his channel, show him some love.
All three of my wonderful videos.
His Wu Chang gameplay especially is amazing.
Hey, I got some. Hey, I promise I'll upload something good at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that for the last year, but
maybe I'll give you some wildling here and there, some mid-tier Wu Chang gameplay.
But thanks for having me, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, thanks for coming on again. And I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, see my COA 3 streams, anything like it, please subscribe to the channel. And that'll be all for the video. Bye.